I'm gonna lasso Santa Claus, and the reason is because I know a boy and girl he never goes see. He never brings some toys like he does for me. I'm gonna pop Santa Claus with my water pistol gun. Bang, bang, and then I'll take his bag of toys and run and bring to all the kids who don't have none.
Hi, I'm Kevin Matthews, Scottish film fan living in England, and this week I have been, I have been really eating all of the cheese that I plan to eat, sometimes with crackers, sometimes with sweet treats, sometimes on the side of another full meal, just all the cheese. Christmas is now a completely cheese-based holiday for me. And I'm more than willing to be up to the task.
So you're just slowly turning into Wallace.
Yeah,
all right.
pretty much. I need a cute little dog that I will call Gromit. Bless her, Vicky did get me my picking plate of cheese and crackers ready when the new Wallace and Gromit film was about to start. So it was just the ideal scenario for that. And it was wonderful. And, of course, I now have new Wallace and Gromit pajamas, so I was already in those at that time. I'm full Wallace. I don't mind. I'm happy with that.
I'm Tyler Hosley, and I'm just sitting here jealous of all of Kevin's cheese eating because I can't have cheese, unfortunately.
I'm Dave Gray, and this week I learned... I knew... Okay. Actually, this week I learned that there's a new Wallace and Gromit coming out. I had no idea until just a few days ago. I am totally out of the loop for some things. And this is Raiders of the Podcast.
Yeah. Had I not gone on about it sooner, I may have resisted.
No, you haven't.
Temptation to bang on about
it. I used to stay on top of stuff, but the past year I've just been totally. Everything's a surprise to me now. Belated happy holidays, guys.
Yes, happy holidays. I can't recall if we mentioned anything last week.
No, I don't remember. So we're celebrating this week with our Secret Satan episode, which took a lot out of me. So I have not watched much. Except I was watching some small people, and they one of them demanded we watch Drag Race, and I haven't seen RuPaul's Drag Race before, not for any reason except I just haven't. You know how it is. But I'm a big fan of Dragula, which is now on Shudder, and Dragula is much better than Drag Race. So there's that. That's all I have to say about that. That's it. Everything else has been for the podcast, and they all kind of made me cry on the inside.
Pretty light week for me too. I went to the theater last night though, and I saw Nosferatu. Robert Eggers just in a fucking league of his own. This movie is filled with such gorgeous, beautifully composed Gothic imagery. I mean, it's so monochromatic that this could have easily been a black and white film. Every shot is like a fucking painting on the wall. It's dripping with atmosphere and dread. It is a gorgeous, handsomely made film. Cast is great. I loved Lily Rose Depp in this, and Nicholas Hoult is excellent. Bill Skarsgård is wonderful as Count Orlok. He doesn't have a huge role. I mean, I would say he's probably got maybe 15 to 20 minutes of screen time. Now it's scattered throughout the entire movie, obviously, but he's great. I mean, he's a grotesque, just plague-ridden monster, and he's just totally unrecognizable in the role. He nails it. I love the voice, the look. It's so good. I can't wait for you guys to see it, because I think this is another one I'm going to pick as soon as it drops on digital, because it's an amazing film. It's probably it's probably my favorite Robert Eggers movie right now. Just excellent stuff. And that's me.
Well, as he says in the Mask, hold on to your lug nuts, boys. It's time for an overhaul. Because I saw shitloads. I'd been planning to watch the Secret Satan choices throughout the month, so I was ahead with that. I had Christmas movies to watch, which I've done, and it's that time of year when I finally get to catch up on the movies of the year that I'd put aside for other stuff. So let me figure out where I left you last time. I watched the best Christmas pageant ever, 2024 film. I don't think I mentioned that before, but it's...
You did last week.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
So
I won't mention that.
You
then.
enjoyed it so much you forgot that you told us about it.
Yeah, bit preachy, bit cute though. A Christmas Karen, I watched, 2022 film. Now, I mention this because I saw somebody mention this elsewhere, and they're saying, you know, it's a take on A Christmas Carol, but obviously it's about a Karen, and it's trying to be funny, but, you know, they were saying it's cheap, it's basically rubbish, avoid this one, it's a rubbish Christmas movie. I genuinely thought A Christmas Karen was quite good fun. I thought it was quite funny. Obviously, quite a few of the jokes are obvious, with the main character being a Karen and demanding the manager and such. The plotting, you know there's got to be a sickly child somewhere. You know there are going to be others that she's seen a different side of and is shown by the spirits how things really are. But the two of the three spirits that visit her are really good. The ghost that shows her the past and the ghost of the present, they're both really good. The main woman playing the Karen is really good. And I think a big thing that I use to judge these cheaper movies, these TV movies, or these these Christmas movies that will appear on streaming services now, dotted about, is basically if you can do even one scene in what's meant to be a busy bar, and it looks enough like a busy bar for a minute or two, then I'm happy that you've tried to do well with what you have. And A Christmas Karen has a scene in a busy bar that is shot just mainly from one angle when you see in the crowd. I'm like, yes, that looks like they got all their family and friends in and made it look like a busy bar, which you would think would be easy. But I know we've all seen films where it's like, oh, it's Haven in here at night, and you've seen the same 6 people stuck around the main character as they walk around, and you're like, yeah, that's not convincing me that that's a busy bar. So I actually do recommend A Christmas Karen for when you're watching Christmas movies and after something. It's quite funny. There's a couple of gags about the how she gets around with the ghosts and how she goes through places and can be seen and heard or not seen and heard. So yeah. Obviously I had to make time to rewatch It's a Wonderful Life. It's I was going to say it's a tradition as much as the Muppets Christmas Carol, but unfortunately, I left the Muppets Christmas Carol too late this year, and I fell asleep even before Michael Caine met the first ghost, the main ghost of Christmas Past. So I can only apologise for that. I know I've let you down there, Dave.
Does that mean you fell asleep during Marley and Marley, the best moment? Man,
no, I was awake for that. I was just after Marley and Marley. I saw that. I'd sat through, after all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas. And then I'd enjoyed like Cheesies for Mises and Rizzo and Gonzo flying about and getting into Scrooge's house. But as the ghost of Christmas Past arrived, I myself went to Dreamland. So that's a shame, but It's a Wonderful Life. I watched it in its entirety earlier on Christmas Eve, and I basically did a secondary review on Letterboxd just saying Uncle Billy is a bigger cinematic villain than Thanos. Because every time I watch it, I'm like, that damn Uncle Billy. And he's going about with his crow flying on his shoulder or feeding squirrels, and You're losing all the money, Uncle Billy. You're doing horrible things and allowing Potter to get his greedy little hands at the pies. Anyway, it's still a wonderful film, obviously. So I take it you didn't watch Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul yet, Dave?
Not yet. I haven't had much time to myself, so
I can't remember the date that you get it over there. I think you're getting it on Netflix over there.
yeah, we
But
are. And I don't think it's until it might be New Year's Eve. I don't think
It might
it's yet.
be. Yeah, we got it on the BBC on Christmas Day. I mean, it is a delight. It was, yeah, it was as good as I wanted it to be. There were a couple of silly jokes that made me laugh out loud. It is not the very best of Wallace and Gromit, but that's a high bar, I think. Personally, I preferred Curse of the Were-Rabbit, which is a wonderful feature, and The Wrong Trousers is my favourite short, as I'm sure it is for a lot of people. But this is, this is really good and really fun if you're a fan of the duo. And then, to the delight or disgust of many, I've wasted my time watching the likes of Smile 2, which is, you're quite correct, it's Voss, the movie. It's Tyler, you liked Smile 2, didn't you? Or did you just like her lead performance?
I thought the movie was okay. I mean, I thought it was about on par with the first one, which is just okay. I probably won't return to it again, but I thought it was okay for a one-time watch. It was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was worse than the first film, because it could have, I don't know, it could have said something more interesting in a more interesting way, but it felt to me like they had a few good deaths planned, and then somebody obviously thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we show this dance routine and then later the dancers kind of appear as a vision and it slightly mimics the choreography and does that. And there is an eeriness about that, but also made me want to roll my eyes. And it's genuinely distracting how much time they spend with someone just grabbing a bottle of Voss water and chugging it. Like, even Vicky turned to me quite early on and just said, "Were they sponsored by this company then?"
I mean, they have to be, because they never cover the logo.
Yeah,
I had somebody online was like, "No, they just picked it because he thought that'd be the best." No, bullshit. They never cover the fucking logo. The bottle's never turned in a way that you can't read Voss clear as day. That's a fucking product placement.
Yeah, I mean that's worse, more distracting product placement than Bond just stopping at a bar to have a bottle of Heineken or something. It was mad how much it happened. I finally watched Heretic, the horror movie with Hugh Grant and a couple of young actresses who play Mormons, knocking at his door and having a conversation with him. And I'm going to say it's a light horror, and I was enjoying it up until the third act. Although I did think it was going a certain way, which I kind of liked the fact that it didn't, and then it took a different direction. I also didn't like that, so I'm not sure where it could have ended up to keep me happy, but not there anyway. I really liked Blink Twice. I know Dave didn't. I know Tyler is on my side with that.
I am. I liked it quite a bit.
I thought it was. I thought it was well done in how it plays out, and I think there were still a couple of scenes in that made me feel quite uncomfortable, and I think it was a difficult subject to tackle in a way that at times runs very close to the actions of people that we've seen, probably not even ever brought to any kind of full justice. And I do think it goes more than once into complete movie fantasy territory, but I think that's the more palatable option and still leaves people room to think about, well, there's a lot of other wrongs here that have added up. There's a lot of it that's explicit, but also one or two things that I think folk can hopefully take as part of the fabric of the whole thing and chew over a bit in terms of how we all act and interact with others, especially with women, on a day-to-day basis. I despised Joker Folie à Deux, so there is that. I know Tyler loved it.
Yes, I do.
It's the one part of it I liked, and I think this is what Tyler liked as well, is that Phillips like really kind of shreds his character in terms of, oh, is this who you sort of want to put on a pedestal? Is this, oh, Harley and Joker, the dream couple you aspire to? Is all this that you would really love to aim for? Well, it's all just a big wet bag of dog shit. I like that one element. The musical aspect of it does not work at all, and that's a shame, because it's almost like that's an extra bit that Phillips thought will just upset people, but then didn't want to put the effort in. Like, none of them feel good. I know T liked at least one of the songs. Was it the it's not Ain't No Mountain High Enough, but has it got the word mountain in it, or
Build a Mountain?
Build a Mountain, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a decent song, and I think I know you'd like about the staging of that, but there's nothing, like, if you're going into that level of fantasy, because it's clear from the trailer as well that there would be fantasy elements, then like go all out. You can still then go back to showing what the proper muddy, grimy awfulness is. Like, you can still go back to showing this main character as just this actual weak and bullied little loser. But Phillips doesn't do any of that. He just, it's kind of unrelenting. And then the visual palette that worked so well in the first film, for me anyway, and for I think a lot of people, just this time around doesn't work, because there's nothing cropping up enough to just pop the bubble now and again, and to make it a bit more interesting in between these like turgid moments of drawn out I don't want to say torture, but kind of, well, more like tedium between us. And some of Phoenix's acting here feels awful. I know it's a choice for him playing up as the character, but it's not a good choice, and he emanates a stinkiness throughout his performances. Like, did you enjoy him doing the full standard lawyer chat in the courtroom, Tyler?
You mean where he sounded like the rooster from Looney Tunes? Yes,
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. I really liked that performance.
Awful.
I don't know.
Awful.
It was a choice.
Yeah.
I really liked that performance, and I like that whole sequence, actually.
Dave would put his foot through the screen at that point.
Probably.
If it's not already. I watched Venom: The Last Dance. It is what it is. I've seen the other two. I knew what to expect. I was hoping for some fun and then some distracting, messy visuals and loud noises in the finale, and that is what I got. So, I mean, it's not good, but it's a better film than Joker Folie à Deux. And then last but not least, I watched The Wild Robot, which was an animation a lot of people were praising from this year, and I'd never got around to that, but I bought it a while ago. that is just lovely. Have either of you two seen The Wild Robot? And I've forgotten you've mentioned it already.
No,
I have
I
not.
read the book, but I haven't seen the movie.
I mean, Vicky was just coming through and laughing at me. I was watching it on a Sunday morning, had my cuppa, put that on straight away. Vicky had done me breakfast. I'm trying not to sob uncontrollably into my fried breakfast, and then just watching so much of it with a quivering lip, and her ready to laugh at me again. While I'm like, it's emotional. You just have no heart. I think the visuals are really, like, it's really lush. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like your typical DreamWorks thing, which I say is a real compliment, because I've enjoyed a lot of DreamWorks movies for the, often childish fun they are, but they have that style, whether it's the Shrek movies or the Despicable Me movies being their big hits. Did they do the Madagascar movies?
DreamWorks
Aye.
was Madagascar.
So each of those has a certain style. The Wild Robot is it's still stylized in a specific way, but just the animation of the nature, the natural environment, and the robot going through that. I mean, it's wonderful. And there's nothing in it that will take you by surprise, but it's so expertly manipulative that I was just a wreck for most of it. I think it's lovely. I think if you have younger viewers with the patience to sit through it, I think they'll enjoy it, and you'll have a little one that's sort of crying and then smiling and laughing as well, and going through the full range of emotions. And I think that's me.
This week, we decided to give each other holiday pain with the gift for Tyler was The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. For Kevin, he was gifted Witchcraft 15 Blood Rose, which he'd already seen. I mean, whoever did that didn't, just hurt the rest of us. The fuck? And I was given the wonderful Amateur Porn Star Killer 3, the final chapter. But because Craig isn't here, we were given a group gift by our dear friend Anna, who inflicted upon us all the 1991 black horror comedy Nothing But Trouble. Hey, T?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to pick a movie and tell us about it? Or tell us about your gift.
I was gonna say, yeah. Are we just gonna do our gifts? Well, my gift was The Life Aquatic because I've shared my disdain of Wes Anderson many, many times. So let's just keep giving me Wes Anderson movies. The movie's about a oceanographer who plans revenge on a legendary shark that killed his partner. He rallies a crew that includes his wife or his ex-wife, a journalist, and a man who may or may not be his son. I mean, I honestly could just copy and paste all my reviews for Wes Anderson shit and just change a few names here and there, because all his twee hipster garbage is exactly the fucking same. I saw this in theaters back in 2004. And upon leaving that theater, I vowed to myself that I'd never watch another Wes Anderson movie for as long as I live. And I stuck to that promise for many, many, many years, until this podcast. And now, to my dismay, I've seen them all. Every single one of them. I have seen Wes Anderson's entire fucking filmography. I hate this movie. I really, really hate this movie. It's Anderson's worst by a fucking long shot. It's condescending. It's smug. It's boring. It's terribly acted. Bill Murray always sucks. I don't like Bill Murray. I like Bill Murray when he's in Lost in Translation and Broken Flowers, but that's the only time I like Bill Murray. So I can't really blame his performance on Anderson, because Bill Murray's always bad, in my opinion. But getting a bad performance from Willem Dafoe, I mean, there's just no excuse for that shit. The cast is it's so stilted, and they're so awkward. It's painful to watch. The script is garbage. It genuinely feels like it's trying to juggle at least 4 different movies at once. The dialogue is terrible. Just, I'll give it one compliment. Just one. I'll be nice. The sets look really good. Production designer did a damn fine job. Everything else is trash. Boring hipster trash made by a filmmaker who is just patting himself on the back after every take and probably wearing a corduroy pants and a fucking scarf while doing so. Just, yeah, I don't like this movie. It's by far the worst movie we watched this week. By far. I'd rather watch Witchcraft 15 on repeat for the rest of my fucking life than sit through this movie again. Never again. I hate this movie, but it's out of the way. I never have to see it again. So, yay.
Tyler, come on. You know what I have to say about this movie? I
agree?
did not see it in the theater. I saw it on DVD in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And then I swore off everything Wes Anderson until we started this podcast.
I knew Dave would be on my side here.
And now I have seen every Wes Anderson movie. Yeah, I'm very much with Tyler on this. I hate Wes Anderson. I think I think he has a strong visual style and he hires some really good production designers. He has some gorgeous sets. This has a 4-story cutaway boat set that is gorgeous. It is amazing. And you see it twice in the whole fucking movie. Twice. And they only use it once. So, that's what we're starting with. It's sexist, but all of Wes Anderson's movies are sexist, but folks get really angry when you mention that because almost all of them are about old men being really pervy on younger people who don't appreciate it. And that's rampant in this one, but whatever. Bill Murray is terrible. Bill Murray is always terrible, but Bill Murray's whole career is based on, I'm not Chevy Chase, so give me a job. Yeah, this probably would have been better with Chevy Chase. I'm not going to lie. Why is the continuity girl always topless? Why is every woman in this a prize to be won by a less than mediocre man? Now, you might have thought those were rhetorical questions, but they weren't. I want you to comment, like, and subscribe this video below explaining why these things are okay and Wes Anderson isn't called out more for him being a racist, sexist, misogynist piece of shit. But whatever. Okay? Whatever. The only good things besides the sets are Brazilian singer Seu Jorge has a small recurring role. I said Brazilian, right? I meant Brazilian. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm tired. My brain farted. He has a small role as Pele, their onboard musician who only does covers of David Bowie songs. There's some really good ones there. That is a highlight of this movie. And that's about it. I mean, this movie just wastes most of the cast. Owen Wilson is pushed to his dramatic edge as Zissou's potential offspring. Kate Blanchett is phoning it in. Angelica Houston's there, but barely. Willem Dafoe is wasted. Just why is he even there? Except he needs a paycheck. Jeff Goldblum is even more wasted, as is Michael Gambon. Bud Cort is wasted. I enjoy Bud Cort when he's given a chance. This is not one of those times. It's not good. There's a nice cameo, recurring small I don't think he does. No, he does have dialogue with Matthew Gray Gubler. He's one of the interns. There's an army of interns. It's not funny. This is just a bad movie. It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie that is so full of itself and so twee and head up its ass that people have convinced themselves it's a good movie, but it's not. It's a bad movie. Well, Anderson's movies kind of suck. So do Noah Baumbach's. Baumbach, whatever. He makes shit too. I said it. Marriage Story was ass. Barbie was a movie of the moment that's ridiculously overrated, and also, much like the movie Kevin mentioned earlier, not feminist when it should be. But whatever. Okay, let's keep having all these discussions like we're 4, instead of treating people like adults. But this is a movie for 4-year-olds. It sucks. And the fact that Kevin inflicted it on us all is something I won't forgive for a while.
I mean, that is scurrilous slander, Dave, and I will not stand for such an unbased accusation.
Oh, did Craig inflict this on us all? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was definitely me.
Yeah, I know.
Just I couldn't keep a straight face. Yeah. It was definitely me. I mean, what can I
For
say?
all his
Tyler
faults,
was
Craig
just
isn't that fucking
lucky enough
vicious.
Tyler was lucky enough for me to pick his name. I mean, I knew this month would be bad again, so I had to have my little pleasure. Was that you done? Sorry, Dave.
That was me done. That's me done.
So I watched this years ago when it first came out on DVD. I own it somewhere, and I've never revisited it. I can't recall what I thought the first time I watched it. I think it was a bit underwhelmed. So actually picking this one was a double whammy. I knew I would hurt Tyler, and I knew I should revisit it and sort of see. Unlike the pair of you, I got more from it this time. I enjoyed a lot more of it. I thought a lot of it was very funny. It was funnier than I remembered. I do agree with Dave about the treatment of women in this film, and yes, it is something that once you do spot it, obviously it does recur quite often through Anderson's filmography. I can't believe I'd never thought of that before, because it's pretty blindingly obvious. It's I don't know if it's at its worst here, but it's pretty damn awful with the,
I don't know.
with the treatment of Blanchett's character.
Rushmore is about 2 men harassing a woman into, well, out of society.
Well, yeah, but at least with Rushmore, they are becoming worse in their behavior, and you're laughing at their spirals. Whereas with this one, Steve Zissou is still trying to, what's the right phrase? Like, he's still trying to climb onto the plinth he's kind of built for himself as this mythical Jacques Cousteau type who deserves all the praise and love heaped upon him. And as the film plays out, he kind of gets to that level, whether it's coincidentally or not, considering how things pan out. Like, his own mistakes lead to his chances to then take charge and act the hero until he becomes it. He fakes it until he makes it, in a way. So I think this is worse in that regard. I agree with Tyler on. I kind of like a couple of moments for Defoe here, but he is generally quite wasted. But the couple of laughs that come from his character having outbursts are really good. So I'm glad he's in it for that. But I mean, this is a film that wastes a lot of people. I don't think it, whether you love or hate him, I don't think it gives Owen Wilson much to really work with. Kate Blanchett is quite wasted in the way that Dave has mentioned. Angelica Houston, great. She's there for, I think she was only there for a couple of scenes. Jeff Goldblum feels like he's in it for a few minutes. Everybody's wasted, and then secondary to Bill Murray and to the the sets and to the ship. So I like when that is the focus of any sequence, and I can just enjoy the details of the design, and I can enjoy the gags, and I can enjoy the little fake aquatic creatures going about. But this is a film in which there are supposed to be relationships that work as the storyline sort of unfolds, and they don't, because they don't feel anywhere near like properly written or developed or authentic. Like Anderson, as I'm sure even his biggest fans would agree, is best at making films when he's almost using film sets like a large paper theater and you know, puppeting the figurines around. But here he tries to mix things in a way that just doesn't work. But as I say, the gags that are down to the design and the beauty of the set and the creatures and Murray and his ego, like, work for me. So I think I like it a bit more than I did. But the flaws, they come up as like neon lit Anderson flaws. So I can really see why, like, Tyler, this is your least favorite Anderson movie, isn't it?
Yes, by far.
Yeah. Like, I can see why now as well. Like, I really didn't remember it that well. So revisiting it, every main scene, I was like, yeah, this is why Tyler absolutely hates this one. Like, it's everything that Anderson does. Everything that he does badly is heightened here, but there's still enough of the stuff he does well that I enjoy that is in here, so that saves it for me, but only just.
Do you know how to twist the knife for this with Tyler?
Do tell.
Hey T, do you know who did all the stop motion creature effects
In Life Aquatic?
Yeah.
No. It's not Henson, is it?
No, it's Henry Selick.
Oh, fucking Nightmare Before Christmas, dude.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. A movie I don't like. And Monkey Bone, which is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
James
so,
the
yes.
Giant Peach. I know you are not a fan of Mr. Selick.
No, I'm not. I like Tim Burton, but Selick, nah.
So I'm going to assume then that unless Dave's being dead coy, that it was Craig that gave me Witchcraft 15.
It was not me. Yeah, I wouldn't give you a movie you've fucking seen.
Yeah,
you're just gonna go look at your blog. I mean, that doesn't hurt anyone but me. Initially,
I thought it was you because obviously your conniving would bring up a sequel, and one so far into a franchise would be your kind of devilish fun.
It would be, but it'd be a franchise you haven't mentioned watching before.
But then, then I realized that would be your undoing. So, I don't know. I'm guessing it's Craig then. Anyway, Witchcraft 15. Now, I don't know. There is a plot description. I don't think it applies. I think the plot here is very loose. I'm going to tell you what IMDb says. I'm not even going to read my own blog about it until later. Rose, a legacy witch, becomes a member of a local coven. Seductress Sharon uses her own powers to enter Rose's body and mind. She uses Rose unwillingly to steal people's souls. Her ultimate goal, resurrect Satan himself. Will Rose stop her sexy evil rampage before it's too late?
Wait,
did you get any of that when you watched it?
None of that happened in the movie. Oh. I mean, she borrowed the body, but nothing else is right.
Yeah. Indeed. Now, this is... Oh, God, I'm trying to think of... Is there 17 witchcraft movies? Or 16?
According to IMDb, there are 16, but that could change.
Right. Right, okay. So I'm finding my own blog. So obviously for some reason I had the wild idea to work through this series a few years ago, back in I think 2017, 2018. And the first film is a little bit normal, a little bit dull. It's okay. I think the second film was already a step down. The third film was a bit better. And beyond then, it's all a blur. But I did these and I kept plowing through them. So when I got to the end, it was quite a cause for celebration. But I also got a reply to my review for Witchcraft 16, Hollywood Coven, or Coven, from writer Sean Abley. So I just wanted to share his thoughts with you first. Hi, Sean Abley here, writer of terrible horror movies. That's in response to my comments, I think. So you touched on something that I thought you might be interested in knowing the deets on. Witchcraft 14, 15 and 16 were all shot simultaneously over, I believe, 9 days total. So the scripts had to be written with the same locations, number of characters, etc. So the production could literally shoot 3 movies worth of scenes on each set, then move on. Insanity. Anywho, yes, they're pretty terrible, but I like to think they're terrible in a fun way. Congrats on making it through. That was his little message
wrong.
to me. Yeah, but it was nice of him to reply. So he is the writer on this one as well, and I mean it's just a mess. The director is David Palmieri, who did I think he might have done all of the last 3. He might have done more than that. I can't remember how many he's done. But like this is a film that I'd seen before, and when I went to rewatch it, I was still absolutely lost by easily 10 minutes in. And I thought I would give it that long because obviously it starts in the middle of some scene, some confrontation between people, and I'm like, oh, I'll get some refresher on what's happened shortly, and I'll get back into the main storyline. That did not happen. The only highlight here is fans of Diana Prince getting to see Diana Prince. That's it. It's inept. It's boring, and it seems to make no sense. Like even the gratuitous nudity that's thrown in there is unsexy and unappealing. And the witchcraft movies overall are like terrible. I would warn everyone away from them. And yeah, I just this wasn't as painful for me because I'd watched it before, so I knew, like, you know, I'm not picking apart the details by the third act like I'm watching LA Confidential. So I knew I could just let it wash over me. I could check if it made any more sense by the time I last watched it and wrote my review. It didn't. So that's a bit of an own goal for Craig. But it doesn't matter to him because he ducked out. I mean, the funniest thing was imagining how you guys get on with the start of this and wondering where it goes. So I'm all ears, guys.
I defer, T.
I haven't seen a single witchcraft movie, so I was just thrown headfirst into the 15th installment of a franchise I never really planned on ever watching. Look, it's obviously made with no money, so it's really hard to say, oh my god, it's terribly made, terribly acted, it's cheap, etc. Because, yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. It's zero budget, cheap horror movie trash, and that's fine. I have no problem with those things at all. I mean, you guys know me. I fucking love trash. But if you're going to make trash, make it trashy. Just make it trashy as fuck. All this talk about like sex magic, and there's barely any fucking until what, like the last 5 minutes of the movie. And the underwear just has to stay on, because when you're making a trashy horror movie featuring sex magic, people have to fuck with their underwear on. But seriously, there's a couple scenes of gratuitous nudity, and that's not even gratuitous. It's barely in this fucking movie. What's the point of these then? It's just people standing in front of a homemade pentagram sign with candlesticks shooting poorly rendered Sith lightning from their fingers and talking about yoga studios. I mean, this was just awful. It's boring. I'm on board with micro budget trash horror, but this just doesn't deliver on any of those fronts. It's just, like I said, really fucking boring, which is a shame, because I thought maybe there was a reason there were 15 sequels in this franchise, but no. I can't even imagine suffering through fucking 14 more of these. Jesus, Kevin, I applaud you for getting through these, because I could barely get through this one. It's barely an hour and 20 minutes. So Kevin is a bigger man than me, I guess, with the witchcraft movies. But yeah, I was not a fan of this. It was just fucking boring.
So here's a fun fact. The director is mostly a grip and electrician on films. He was a grip on Scary Movie 2, Mimic 2, Who's Your Daddy, Bride and Prejudice, Cursed, The Devil's Rejects, and the TV show Revenge, and a bunch of other stuff too. I mean, dude's been doing it forever. I'm assuming, looking at his credits, he's pretty good as a grip. He was a grip on the Eternals movie. That's his last credit as a grip. I'm guessing he's a professional and pretty good at that job. Do you know what he's not good at? Direction. And cinematography, because he's also the cinematographer on this film. Yeah, this just sucks. I have seen some of the witchcraft movies, not nearly as many as Kevin. I've seen maybe the first 2, maybe the first 3. I'm not really sure offhand. Julie Strain's in one of them. I've seen that one. It's bad. It's just bad. It's boring. It's dull. Nothing happens. They talk a lot about nothing. Somebody does borrow a body, but people just keep, like, nobody does anything proactive. This woman knows her body keeps being stolen to murder, and she doesn't, like, protect herself or get away. She keeps meeting alone with the person that does this to her. What the fuck? Now, I'm sorry, Sean Abley, but you need to better explain that in your screenplay. Maybe it got cut, but I need a reason besides because she is. Speaking of Mr. Abley, he's written 16 films, including Camp Blood 9, Bride of Blood. I don't know any of these other. Oh, he was a writer on So Weird. Do you remember that old TV show, T?
I do, actually.
Yeah. He's also a writer on Digimon, Digital Monsters. And you know what? There's no excuse for these screenplays. He only wrote 2 of them, according to IMDb. He wrote 15 and 16. Apparently someone else wrote 14, or he was so ashamed he didn't want to take credit. The cast is bad. The cast is just bad. They're not even fun bad. I don't even want to mention their names, except for Diana Prince, who actually does some acting in it. Everyone is reading off cue cards flatly and poorly and very poorly. I'm not sure they're actually functionally literate. It's just, like, how do you make a fuck movie and nobody fucks? No, that is not rhetorical, Kevin.
I mean, they did it at least a dozen other times, Dave. So I don't. There must just be like a school
They keep
for how to do this.
they keep their pants on, Kevin. They're supposed to be getting down, but they've got jeans on.
I know.
That's not how it works. Like, it doesn't work that way. I might not be the world's greatest lover, but I understand the mechanism better than anyone that's made a witchcraft movie. So that makes me feel a little better.
That is my biggest pet peeve in movies, when people fuck with jeans on or pants or underwear. Just come on, man.
I mean, there's some other issues. Like, why is there only white people in this movie? Except the two African American guys are, well, one is dead, and the other one is the big evil. There's things they're saying there. I'm just putting that out there. It just sucks. There's no reason to watch this. Just don't watch this. Why did Craig do this? See, here's the thing. Why did Craig do this to me and Tyler? Why? What have we? Because Kevin's seen this. He's immune. He watched 16 of these. Kevin, my friend, you need to love yourself more.
I'm just happy I've generally stayed away from the whole 666 series. But I know one day.
Someday.
One day is coming, yeah.
Someday. I guess that brings me to my gift, which I believe was given to me by Tyler.
Yes, it was.
Yes. It is Amateur Porn Star Killer 3, the final chapter. It's not the final chapter, as I'm been informed there's a fourth one.
There is, in 3D.
I don't even, like, given how he films this one, I can't even imagine seeing that. That would make people ill.
I haven't seen 4 in a long time, but I remember not all of it being found footage style, but it's been a long time.
Okay. Well, this film is basically just our writer, director, cameraman, and star Shane Ryan Reed, and his co-star, I believe it's Reagan Reese as Nikki, in a car together. Now, before that, there's a few other women that show up. I believe 4, to be quickly dispatched after some nudity. And this just kind of sucks. It doesn't do anything with anything. He's not playing a character. He is just being an asshole to people. It's poorly made. It doesn't know when to cut, and sometimes it knows it doesn't know when it knows it should have cut, but instead of cutting, it just removes the sound. So this isn't even, God, how long is this? This is barely an hour. It's an hour and 18 minutes, and at least 30 minutes of it are filler shots of driving. They couldn't even make a film to fit a full fucking hour without a shit ton of filler shots of just driving, not going anywhere, not doing anything, just driving around California. It sucks, and not in like a fun way. It sucks in a way that, I mean, I'm glad that he found his niche and he's made a profit off this, but like the violence is nothing. Even the sexual stuff. This has worse sexual stuff than fucking Witchcraft. I will take the pants on fucking over the. I don't even know what's going on in most of this. Like, maybe the others are more graphic, but this one isn't even like that graphic. There's a little on-screen hummers, but they're not. It's not well done, either shot or performed. Like I don't get who this is for. It's not a horror movie. It's not a drama. It's just kind of there. But the director's still going. He has 14 upcoming films listed on IMDb. And the vast majority of them are found footage where he plays a killer or man and killer. So I mean he's found his niche, and like with say David Dakota, it might not be my thing, but it's someone's thing. And I'm not going to fault you for enjoying this. I just can't enjoy it with you. I'm actually surprised Tyler picked this. God, he's already made 4 in the Ted Bundy Had a Son series. They're just not out yet. And that totally misunderstands Ted Bundy as a person. But whatever. Let's not even get... Okay, I don't... I just don't get who this movie was for. I guess the producers, and there's a lot of producers, so I'm guessing they're the people who specifically get off on this film because, like, there's nothing to it. There's no kills. There's no, like, even the characters aren't really characters. I will say I do think 2 of the women, including the main one who played Nikki, do their best to kind of give a performance. She is obviously an actual actor, and she does some okay moments. Because it's obviously, I mean, she's obviously ad-libbing a lot of it. So I will give credit where it's due. She tries to make something with this, but there's not much to work with. It doesn't know when to end. It doesn't know how to pace itself. And most of it is just filler, and that's all. Like, at least learn how trains work, dude. It didn't hurt, but, like, you know, it left no impression. I will totally forget this exists in today's the 27th. I watched this on Christmas Eve, so I will totally forget that this exists by the 3rd.
This film made me so angry, and I don't even want to call it a film. I was raging. I was raging at Tyler. I was raging at the world. I was raging at the fact I was going to have to talk about this on a fucking podcast. I was just like, it was the worst thing I've ever watched. I messaged people. I messaged Tyler. I was like, just because somebody's recording their porn on a little bloody camcorder and they release it on some private label, it doesn't mean it's art house. It's just niche porn. It's just bullshit. I was so annoyed, and I thought it was the worst thing I'd ever seen. Thought it was the worst thing I'd seen for the podcast. Thought I couldn't stomach much more of this if I had to. And then, quite rightly, Tyler did reply and say, well, I had to watch another fucking Wes Anderson movie. It is Secrecy. And I was like, fair point.
And
well
I mean,
made.
the Wes Anderson movie is like triple the length.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at least it's so short. But my God, it still felt like it went on and on and on. And, like, it's, there's nothing good in this. This is an absolute waste of time. There's no technical ability shown. There just isn't. It's a complete mess. There's no point to it. It feels pointless. And Shane Ryan Reed, who writes, directs, and acts, is just awful. Like, between himself and whoever he got for the main role here, that they obviously thought they could just pretend to be having a natural conversation, which they can't.
No, that's when the soundtrack dropped out.
I mean,
We just watched them drive in silence.
I've heard more natural conversations from Kang and Kodos pretending to be humans as they get ready to eat the human race in the Simpsons movies, Simpsons episodes. So it's atrocious, and it's atrocious on a whole other level of atrocious. I'm not being funny when I say I genuinely resent referring to this as a film. It's that shit. All right, he can, I say barely, he can edit in terms of cutting stuff together on whatever program or machine he uses. That's it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put it past him just doing a single shot thing and claiming it's brilliant just because that was all he could do. And, good for him for waving his dick about on camera and getting to hit women about in the face with his dick. Wow, that must be all of his porn movie fantasies come true. That's what it feels like. And I know, I've seen T do better stuff than this. So, and I'm not meaning that as a backhanded compliment, T. I'm on about your acting as well. You're better than this guy. You must watch this and see this guy and think, yeah, he's trying too hard and he can't do it. He can't. He obviously can't. He's either not written a script that can sound natural enough, or he can't improv to sound like a normal person while he's doing scenes trying to pretend to be a normal person. And then when he becomes a bit playful and menacing, it's somehow even worse. I wanted to reach into the screen, kick him out of the car, back up over him with the car, drive forward again, back up. The film would never end. If it was just me backing up over him repeatedly and going forward, I would do that for eternity. If that was my sort of punishment in afterlife, I would assume I'd been sent to heaven rather than hell, because that would suit me just fine. I mean, he's never got to hear this, but if he does, fuck him. Fuck you, Shane Ryan Reed, you absolute inept piece of shit who walked about carrying a potato in one hand and your cock in the other and thought you could make a film with either.
You know what I like that I find just so endearing about you, Kevin?
Well,
even after all that, you're still too kind to the film. All that, and you still say he can edit, and that's a lie. That's just a bold-faced lie, and you're being too kind.
I didn't say well. I just meant in terms of just very basically, obviously not having everything needing to be in the one shot. I do these YouTube videos weekly. I don't edit them. I'm just like, hi, it's me. This is it. I've cut off whatever at the start. I've cut off at the end on my phone. I'm not editing. That's
but
all
he didn't
I
even
mean.
cut it off. I mean, that's why half this movie is just driving through towns.
Well, I have to. I'm just going to have a little lie down while Tyler talks.
Well, I clearly missed my target and hit Kevin. So,
but you were success. I mean, you did succeed, so that works.
Seriously though, only reason I picked this was because of the reaction to the portraits of Andrea Palmer a couple of years back, and that seemed to cause harm to everybody but myself. And this is pretty close to the style of that particular movie. So here we are, Amateur Porn Star Killer 3, the final chapter, baby. After this movie ended, I've seen this movie before. I watched it when it first came out. But after this was over, I'm like, how am I going to review this movie? I don't know how to, because there's really not much to it. They're pretty much just porn shot POV style in black and white, with a drop of a circular plot thrown in there. It's the goreless version of something like August Underground, but with a lot more driving and a couple blowjobs here and there, a little unsimulated doggy style. He sticks his thumb up a girl's asshole in a cheap motel room, and then more driving, rinse and repeat. So I'm like, Well, I picked this to hurt people, but I don't know how I'm going to fucking talk about it because it's literally just porn. So we just watched Shane Ryan's private sex tape rolled into one movie. Well, actually 3 movies, because you could actually probably watch all 3 of these and it would be like one movie. Seriously though, am I the only one who thought this? You know how easy it would have been for any of those girls to bite his cock off like Last House on the Left style? 3 movies down, and not one girl gives Brandon that oral castration. It's a shame, really, because I mean, every time he stuck his dick in one of those girls' mouths, I kept saying, just bite that shit off. It would have been over. The movie would have been over. Just bite his fucking dick off. But it never happened, unfortunately. I actually thought Reagan Reese was actually pretty good in her role. She's an actual porn star. She's really pretty too. And she actually shows some like emotion during her half of the movie. I thought she was actually decent. But I don't really have much else to add. I own every one of these on DVD except for the 4th one. I'm not sure that has a DVD release or not, but I own all these.
God, Tyler, you're a monster.
I was going to ask, why didn't you finish the collection? But that explains it. Okay.
Yes, I'd rather own a box set of the Witchcraft movies. You absolute monster. You're evil. You are the Antichrist. I'm going to come over there one day and shave your head to find the 360s that are engraved on there.
I put $15 a piece in Shane Ryan's pocket when I bought these on Amazon many years back.
Oh my God.
Those 6s are penis shaped, like the penis is curled into 6s.
I probably funded part 4 in 3D with my wallet. So
yeah, you're $45. He could stretch your $45, so you know.
Well, yeah, here's another fun fact about Amateur Porn Star Killer. The first one was made for $45, and apparently it made like $10,000 in DVD sales or something like that. So that's a decent amount of money for something he made for $45. But
I mean, this one looks like it was made for $10 style.
Let me tell you something. I made movies similar to this. I spent $0. So, you know, you don't have to put any money into these. I don't think you put any money into these. Maybe the hotel room, but that's about it.
Yeah, but, and your movies are better than anything he's done.
I appreciate that, actually. But yeah, I don't dislike these movies. I think they're, for what they are, they're fine. They're no August Underground. I love the August Underground movies. Fred Vogel's awesome. But for what they are, they're fine. I mean, I own them for a reason, I guess, right?
Yeah, no. Because you buy everything. That's your reason. I've seen your fucking closet.
I do buy it. Well, I don't buy everything. I don't own a single Wes Anderson movie, Dave.
Currently, but you have in the past.
Do I?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever bought a Wes Anderson movie. I
bought one and you whined to us for days on the thing. I think you mailed it to Craig.
I did? I don't remember that, but I maybe I have. I don't know. I know I
blocked it. That's how traumatic it was.
I own a couple Steven Seagal movies that I wish I don't own, but I don't remember buying a Wes Anderson movie. But yeah, who knows? I probably do somewhere in that fucking huge ass closet of mine down there. So maybe.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll do nothing but trouble. I'm assuming you're done.
Yeah.
I can't possibly imagine what else you'd have to say about that.
There's nothing else to say. Nothing at all.
So, because Craig won't be here, and I want him to actually watch my gift to him. We've delayed that one, and we're gonna finish up the year with Nothing But Trouble, the 1991 American black horror comedy, written and directed by Dan Aykroyd in his directorial debut, starring Chevy Chase, John Candy, and Demi Moore. It's about the absolute worst financial advisor, Chris Thorne, and the absolutely worst lawyer, Diane Lightson, going off-road the New Jersey Turnpike and being arrested in Valkenvania. I wrote it down. I did write it down. And their struggles to get out. I have to admit, I had not seen Nothing But Trouble before because people always told me that it was terrible and to avoid it. But you want to know something? I kind of really enjoyed Nothing But Trouble. I don't love it. It is not an all-time favorite, but it's well shot by Dean Cundey, who is, an all-timer cinematographer. It has, he's the same dude that shot Jurassic Park and Apollo 13 and Halloween. All-timer. It has a fun Michael Kamen soundtrack. Most of the cast does fairly well. I'm going to underline that word most and come back to those that don't, but I enjoyed Dan Aykroyd in it. He plays an absolutely ridiculous villain who I enjoyed. I love John Candy. John Candy was too good for this mortal coil and shuffled it off far too early. Vlari Brumfeld as the deputy is fine. She actually started her career as a comedy duo with Aykroyd. It's why she kind of pops up in his work throughout. I really enjoy Taylor Negron in this. He is a blast with Bertilla Damas. They're a lot of fun. Daniel Baldwin shows up. And he's a lot of fun. Who is not a lot of fun is our leads, Demi Moore and Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase is a smug piece of shit. Just as a human being, he is a smug piece of shit. But when he plays a smug piece of shit, and he just doubles down, and that smug piece of shit he's playing is painfully brain damaged, it hurts. It hurts when you're forced to watch a movie where all of it is just because one stupid rich white man won't shut the fuck up. Unfortunately, they've partnered him for most of the movie with Demi Moore, who gives one of the worst comedic performances of all time in this film. So these two drag it down a lot. There is an absolutely fantastic cameo from the Digital Underground, including at the time member Tupac Shakur. That's a fun scene. There's a lot of fun little Rube Goldberg moments. I love Rube Goldberg machines, and it's just kind of crazy to me that in like late 1990 to late 1991, there was just this flood of Rube Goldberg machine movies. So there's Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Ernest Scared Stupid, The Addams Family, this. I mean, there were like a good dozen of them. Home Alone, tons just out of nowhere. I enjoy that when weird things like that happen. This is Slapstick Psycho mixed with I don't know, The Baby maybe. Texas Chainsaw by way of Saw. I enjoyed the crap out of this. I don't love it. It's not an all-time favorite, but there's a lot of fun scenes and a lot of fun moments. It's just a shame that it's dragged down by the leads. And that they didn't, kill the yuppies in the end, but it's a comedy, so of course they're not going to.
I had seen this before, and it's been within the time of the podcast, I believe. It was one that I'd heard about for a long time, and I just got out of the way. It's an odd one. Like, you can see why it didn't work. And then reading up on it is quite quite fascinating at what a mess it is. I don't think Aykroyd wanted to direct necessarily, but he could then help get everyone and everything together. And then people were collaborating and coming up with wild ideas, and the budget was going over, and it just ballooned. there's some fun to be had here, and I think I think there's a much better movie to be excavated from this. But if anything, it should have gone much darker, but had someone better in the lead roles. Like, I agree with Dave. They are generally quite weak. Chase is, for me, he's surprisingly weak, because I think this is the kind of thing where he could work well, but then when everything starts playing out, it's not good. He's not a good fit, so it needs a complete change. Demi Moore is, I mean, she's there to be the attractive woman at his side. So again, I think she's rarely been like as good as her sort of status might have made her out to be when she was on peak form. She tends to be doing better, I think, nowadays with more interesting choices. But back then, I don't know, there could have been at least a couple of better contenders who might have done more with this. John Candy's really quite good in his role. It helps that, you know, he's the kind of small town cop getting people aside and ready to trump up a charge and drag them through the courts. And he's John Candy, and he has the innate babyface sweetness of John Candy. So I like that juxtaposition. Dan Aykroyd is quite fun as the judge at times. That design that design on the nose when it's clarified later on is wild and gross. But then again, I also think Aykroyd indulges himself a little bit too much as well, and maybe indulged others, going by what I read on the collaboration. But things like him, you know, joining in with the jam when the musicians are there and stuff feels like the kind of thing he would want to do, just for the sake of having an extra song and dance moment there. It's an odd one, like, which I guess is what people have said about over the years. I think somehow it could have been even funnier if it had also been even darker. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. It should definitely be darker.
Yeah. But yeah, like some of the designs are great. The bone stripper's fun. The model railway around the dinner table. Even the clutter around just anywhere the judge goes. And the weird big, like, giant man babies. It's all weird and, like, eye catching in the right way. So yeah, it is possibly, like, really down to Chase and Moore not being good enough leads. And if you'd had good enough leads, you might have worked harder to frame things better around them and have different opportunities. But I would say it's worth a watch, especially for those who enjoy their humor with a dollop of the macabre. That's me.
Nothing But Trouble is an actual mess in terms of almost everything, story, filmmaking, but it's a hideous fucking mess, and I mean that as a total compliment. This movie feels like it was made by a crazy person snorting lines of coke in between every take, and I kind of love it for that. I don't know why. Maybe it was just me, but I kept thinking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 the entire fucking time. It just had the same energy as that movie, and I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 because, I mean, that also feels like it was made by a fucking crazy person. But it starts like your typical comedy, then it just takes this hard left turn into just total fucking bonkers weirdness. I do agree, though, it could have been a little darker, for sure. I mean, they could have made this super dark, but they didn't, and it's fine. But Dan Aykroyd in that goofy ass makeup, I thought the cast was mostly a lot of fun. John Candy was great. I fucking love John Candy, and he was great in this. I can normally take or leave Chevy Chase, but I didn't dislike him here. He's playing Chevy Chase, so I mean, he always plays Chevy Chase. Clark Griswold is fucking Chevy Chase, so that's what he's playing here, just in a different setting. Demi Moore, I really like Demi Moore. I always have. She's just not really suited for comedy, unfortunately, and not everything lands, and it has no idea what it actually wants to be. It's a tonally inconsistent, like, freak show of a movie, but I still can't believe it was made by like a Hollywood studio with these actors. It's crazy. I dig the fuck out of it. It's by far the best thing we watched this week. Plus, it's got a Tupac cameo, and Tupac is fucking awesome. So that makes an automatic win for Nothing But Trouble. So yeah, it's a fun one. I've seen this, like, I saw this years and years ago on VHS, and I didn't remember a thing about it until this rewatch. So yeah, it's fun. It's a fun one for sure.
Well, Tyler would usually be correct that this would be an automatic sweep for Nothing But Trouble. We're not going to do our usual pick the best. It's time to pick the worst film, the one that did the most damage and brought the most pain to us.
It's easily Amateur Porn Star 3. Tyler has hurt me in ways I will still be recovering from decades from now if I'm still alive.
The Life Aquatic, by far.
This is actually really tough because I hate The Life Aquatic. But I also hate...
But it's a film, Dave.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I was about to say next. It is actually a movie that qualifies as a movie. Amateur Porn Star Killer does not. I didn't hate it like Kevin did because I'm pretty desensitized to this shit now.
It's a movie, though. It fucking counts as a movie. It's a DVD released by a fucking studio.
No, it does count. I agree. It does count. But there's nothing good in this. I can't. But it didn't hurt me. What did hurt me? I'm gonna go with Witchcraft, just because I can say some nice things about Life Aquatic. Although I hated it, I hated it so much, and I wasn't offended by Amateur Porn Star Killer because, well, I'm not the same person I was 7 years ago when I had to watch the movie that inspired that pick. I'm sure if I watched it then, I'd have had a very different reaction. But instead, I was just bored by it. Unlike Witchcraft, where I wasn't just bored, I was bored and insulted that they tried to do 3 of these like that. So I'm going with Witchcraft, just so there is no winner. There shouldn't be a winner. They're all terrible. Love yourself more. Watch Nothing But Trouble if you have to watch one of these 4 movies, but you're better than all of this. I mean, I don't know what led you to the point where you had to decide between these 4, but you're better than this. And you should embrace that. But next week, we start the new year back to normal. Apparently, we're not doing the standard Japanuary for reasons. So what do you got for us, Kevin? Tyler?
I know Tyler has a choice he's very excited to bring to the podcast, as do I, but maybe for different reasons. I am bringing a 2024 choice I think we'll all enjoy discussing, and it is Megalopolis.
Nice. Well, I'm also picking a 2024 movie. I said I was going to pick this as soon as it hit digital, and I am. Next week, guys, we're watching my favorite film of 2024, Sean Baker's Anora.
It's like you guys, it's like I didn't just survive a shitty week.
Dave, I thought you'd like Sean Baker, though.
I can. Right? Let me be totally clear. I can like Sean Baker. I liked his early stuff. Then I saw Red Rocket. And I know that he's also capable of total shit.
You did praise the Florida Project, though.
Yeah, Florida Project's good stuff.
Yeah.
Florida Project is a well-observed character study about people that fly below the radar. Same with Tangerine and I'm brain farting. What was the one before that? Starlet. Yeah. Like, I appreciate those. I'm not sure I'm going to appreciate a Russian oligarch pretending to fall in love with a hooker, even if the hooker actress gives an amazing performance. That's not a well-observed character study. That is bullshit.
But it's paired up against
Megalopolis. So I mean, yeah, you've literally got like a big old head start as it is. So it's yours to, it's yours to lose. Is Megalopolis streaming? Okay, it is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
it's streaming.
Oh, I gotta buy it though. You fucker.
There you go, Dave.
You fucker. No, I'm going to bootleg it. I'm going to bootleg the fucking shit out of that. Because I'm never giving fucking Francis Ford Coppola a goddamn dime because he's a piece of shit. As always, you can reach us on Instagram. You can reach us on Blue Sky. You can reach us on our blog spot. You can reach us on Spotify or Apple. Where else are we? You can watch our YouTube videos every week. We're also on Facebook. And if you really need to get a hold of us, you can email us at writersofthepodcast@gmail.com. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly